Some destinies intertwine in shadows. Lena lived hers in a world stitched together by threads of despair. In the impoverished outskirts of Brindor, she toiled relentlessly, day blurring seamlessly into night, and night into day. Each moment weighed heavily on her shoulders, a reminder of the unjust hierarchy that left her abandoned and alone. Cast aside by noble parents, she learned to navigate the unforgiving streets, becoming a 27-year-old herbalist who roamed the dark alleys with a basket full of wild herbs. Each leaf was a lifeline, whispering promises of survival, a token of rebellion against crushing hopelessness. The air was thick with humidity as she made her way through the streets. Nights were often cold, but the chill was nothing compared to the hunger gnawing at her insides. The scent of decaying refuse clung to her, yet she pushed through, driven forward by the flickering fire within her. It burned quietly, hidden beneath layers of hardship, waiting for a spark that could make it bloom into something greater. Her magic remained mostly unrecognized, a rare ability to commune with nature, a gift so entwined with the land that it pulsed beneath the surface, giving her strength even when the world was dull and gray. As Lena moved through the shadows, gathering herbs, she felt the weight of the kingdom pressing down upon her. The landscape shifted, the palace looming like a dark cloud above the rooftops, its magnificence a stark contrast to her life on the streets. Behind those walls stood Draven, the Alphaking of Brindor, alone. His heart weighed down by the heavy mantle of his solitude. He prowled the twisting shadows of his castle like a restless spirit trapped in his own nightmare. Draven's very essence was shackled to painful memories. A chaotic enchantment nestled deep within him, forcing eternal slumber upon the kingdom he once protected. He wandered in darkness, yearning for freedom, grappling with a past he could not change. With every night that passed, he fought against despair, desperate for the light of hope that seemed just beyond his reach, tethered mysteriously to the distant pulse of Lena's existence. Unbeknownst to her, the threads of their fates intertwined, delicate yet unbreakable, connecting them through the fabric of destiny. Their stories were woven together in the heart of Brindor, a kingdom unaware that salvation hung delicately in the balance. As the shadows seeped deeper into the land, whispers of a dark presence stirred in Lena's heart. A sense of urgency ignited inside her, pushing her to embark on a quest that was both perilous and hopeful. Ancient ruins had been spoken of in hushed tones, places that held the power to break curses and free those trapped in despair. They were stories steeped in magic, whispered among her fellow townspeople over cracked tables in dimly lit taverns, and their weight hung heavy on her soul. Maybe, she thought, those ruins may hold the key to my own freedom and his. Every herb she collected grew more meaningful, each step she took more purposeful. Determination surged within her like wildfire. The thought of finally breaking Draven's curse, of freeing not only the king but also herself from this suffocating existence, made her heart race with a fierce hope. Discontent had sprouted in her chest, and now it demanded attention. But there was more than mere determination. This quest felt like fate stepping forward, and she could not deny its power. With each breath, Lena felt the ancient energies of the forest beckoning her closer, whispering promises of what might come. Soon, she would find that hidden gateway, that path to the unknown that could lead her into the very heart of shadows. But what awaited her on the other side? Would she find the key to unlock more than just a curse? The forest rustled with secrets. The sun dipped low, painting the world in hues of burnt orange and deep purple. Lena's heart raced as she stepped deeper into the woods, each footfall guiding her toward a destiny she could barely comprehend. But this wasn't just about survival anymore. This was her moment to reclaim her life, to mend the fractured pieces of her soul. Lena had spent years mastering the herbs that grew wild across the land. She knew every leaf, every root, every blossom that thrived amid the dirt and decay. Her days in the outskirts had taught her resilience, her survival anchored in the pursuit of knowledge. Magic thrummed through her very veins, yet she kept it hidden, warding off those who could exploit her gift. But she had fought through the desperate hunger, had learned to fortify her spirit against despair. Orphaned at 16, she had risen from the ashes of her childhood, mere scraps of her noble life a distant memory. No inheritance, No family to fall back on, just an unquenchable spirit, and a determination that could light fire to the darkest nights. In those early days, she had felt utterly alone, navigating the streets like a shadow, an unseen specter in a cold, heartless world. Cold hands reached out to her from the alleyways, fingers whispering her name. But it was nature that welcomed her with open arms. The flowers and trees nurtured her in ways humans never could. Each interaction with the earth had strengthened her resolve, integrated her sense of identity with the wildness that flourished around her. The kingdom of Brindor loomed larger than life, yet imprisoned in its own memories. The castle stood undefeated, grand but ominous, where the Alpha King, Draven, reigned in solitude, cursed by fate as well. They shared so much yet had never crossed paths. Not until fate intervened, threading their lives together with silent urgency. Meanwhile, Draven remained trapped in a dark dreamscape. He wandered through shadows, an outlaw king amid a castle of echoing despair. His heart, once fierce and bright, now pulsed with the memories of a tragic past. Each night his mind was weighed down by visions of a kingdom he could no longer protect. He was entwined in chains of magic, lost between the threads of time, longing for the warmth of connection that had for so long eluded him. Once a mighty warrior, he was now reduced to a specter, dreaming of days filled with laughter, light, and loyalty. His spirit hungered for affection, for a taste of the true love that slipped through his fingers like the briefest summer sun. He glimpsed it in shards, hazy images of a woman dancing in the moonlight, but with every attempt to draw near, that vision faded into the shadows once more. But tonight, a shift hung in the air, similar to the whispers Lena heard in the forest. A feeling like a spark, igniting the darkness surrounding him, the magic surging from her heart and into his, tethering them across miles untraveled. Time flowed differently in Draven's realm. Hours could stretch indefinitely, moments slipping like sand through an hourglass. Yet as Lena forged on through the depths of the forest, she was drawn towards that very heart of shadows, where the barrier separating their worlds began to thin. Gradually, the trees grew thicker, ancient roots twisting and entwining, guarding secrets long forgotten. Thrumming beneath her feet, she could sense an energy, electric and alive. The gateway would beacon soon, would demand her approach. What lay behind that ancient threshold? The thought made her stomach clench, but doubt nagged at her heart. Was it truly power she sought, or merely the liberation of a curse that was never her own? Lena steadied her breath, knowing she could not afford to hesitate. She thought of Draven, of his unyielding spirit trapped beneath the glamour of the castle. What if there was more at stake than breaking an enchantment? What if their fates were entwined on a level she couldn't yet understand? Before her lay answers waiting to be discovered, each moment growing heavier, pregnant with possibility. She shook off the doubt and pushed toward that flicker of light. At the core of it, she felt a connection, something magnetic that drew her forward, propelling her through the thick underbrush. She was beyond the point of no return, spiraling towards something monumental, where destiny would finally unfold, not just for herself, but for a kingdom awaiting its savior. How would the pieces all fit together? Shall I move on to Block 3, where we explore their collision and recognition? The forest throbbed with anticipation as Lena pressed on, each heartbeat echoing in time with the rising magic wielded within her. It was as if the earth itself recognized her presence and leaned in closer, coaxing her forward, whispering secrets of forgotten times. Ancient trees stretched their gnarled limbs overhead, creating canopies that filtered the waning light as shadows danced around her. She could feel it, the pulse of a gateway just beyond the horizon. And then she stumbled upon it. A clearing unfolded, revealing a circle of stones, moss-covered and worn by age. At the center, a shimmering light swirled, tendrils of luminescence coiling like serpents around a pillar of ancient rock. It beckoned, stronger than any voice. She approached slowly, breath caught, not daring to think of the consequences. Draven felt it too. The moment his fingers brushed the cool stone of the castle wall, an electric shock raced up his arm. He saw it clearly in his mind's eye, a brilliant light breaking through the darkness. It was different from anything he'd felt in centuries. one that seemed to call out to him, awakening a longing deep within. His heart quickened. There was something about it, something that reminded him of hope, something that whispered promises of redemption. He tore himself from the shadows, his instincts screaming at him to act. As he slipped through the halls of his castle with fluid grace, the aura of the magic enveloped him, drawing him out into the cool night air. He ventured further than he ever had before, following that pulsating light, that unbreakable tether that seemed to link him directly to another soul. Across the distance, Lena felt the surge of energy ripple through the air, threading its way into her very being. She paused, heart racing, sensing she was no longer alone. With dizzying clarity, the world shifted around her, the shadows dissolving into the light. And then, she caught a scent that electrified her senses, earthy, wild, and intoxicating. He was close. Draven emerged from the shadows of the trees, the moonlight casting a silvery glow on him. Lena gasped. The aura surrounding him flickered with power, each step he took stirring the air like a gentle breeze. His features were sharp and commanding, eyes burning with an intensity that rooted her to the spot. He was magnificent, and yet there was unmistakable sorrow etched into the lines of his face, a history she could sense but could not see. The moment stretched, a fragile instant where time seemed to pause. They locked eyes, and the world around them blurred, the connection igniting a spark of understanding beneath the layers of their pasts. Recognition flashed between them, more potent than any word, the kind of knowing that goes beyond reason, tantalizing and terrifying all at once. Draven felt his heart lurch. This was the woman from his dreams. He could sense the strands of magic entwining between them. You felt it too, he said, his voice low, thick with longing and urgency. Who are you? Lena questioned, breathless, her mind racing, yet he seemed to pull her in like a tide. There was no fear, only an instinctive pull, an undeniable connection humming just beneath the surface. I am Draven, King of Brindor, he replied, stepping closer, his gaze never wavering. I've been caught in a curse, trapped in shadows, and you are the light I've searched for. What do you mean? She breathed, still unaware of the full magnitude of their bond. I'm just a nobody. No, you're not. You are everything, he insisted, the intensity of his words sinking into her further than she thought possible. You bear a power you do not even realize. You are my mate. The weight of that revelation hung in the air between them, wrapping them both in an invisible thread that thrummed with magic. Hope warred against disbelieving fear within her chest. Lena felt dizzy. This inkling of connection, this concept, not just of herself, but of being tied to someone so powerful, both thrilled and terrified her. I don't understand, she whispered, shaking her head as disbelief crept in. I'm just a simple herbalist. The forest around them felt alive, simmering with expectation. Draven reached out, his fingertips brushing her skin. A mere spark, yet a jolt of awareness surged between them, igniting every nerve. No, he insisted fiercely, energy crackling in the charged atmosphere. You have been chosen as part of something greater. You can help free me, Lena. We can save the kingdom. The knowledge of it made her heart race. Was this destiny, or was this madness? But I don't know how, she replied, the desperation tinging her voice. You will, he said, his eyes darkening, pupils dilating as he stepped even closer. Together, we can enter the depths of that ancient magic. We were called to one another for a reason. The gravity of obligation pressed down. Their fates were intertwined, and she could feel the silent promise, a connection that transcended time. The warmth of his presence wrapped around her like a cloak, empty fears fading. What must we do? She asked, voice steady, a new determination coursing through her veins. Draven smiled, faint but radiant. We must merge our powers and face the darkness together. Together. The word reverberated, and with it came a sense of purpose igniting in the deepest corners of her heart. But as they prepared to step into that swirling light, shadows lingered, tightening their grip on Brindor. What trials awaited them beyond the threshold? What darkness must they face to fulfill their union and save the kingdom? The swirling light enveloped them, wrapping the world in a cocoon of shimmering magic, pulsing like a heartbeat. Lena felt Draven's presence next to her, solid and steadfast. Together, they were strong. But as the glow intensified, a wave of uncertainty swept over her. What if they weren't ready for whatever lay ahead? But there was no turning back. Draven took her hand, his grip warm and reassuring, and in one fluid motion, they stepped into the light. In an instant, the forest melted away, replaced by an expansive void filled with a spectrum of colors that twisted and turned, a parallel realm exuding pure energy. The air crackled around them, thick with ancient magic, cleansing and invigorating. Lena couldn't help but gasp at the beauty, but the awe quickly morphed into fear as shadows slithered into view, dark shapes lurking just beyond the light. "What is this place?" she murmured, looking up at Draven with wide eyes. "This is the realm of magic," he replied, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "It has a will of its own. That's the danger. It will test our bond, thrust challenges upon us to weaken our resolve. We must remain vigilant." Lena nodded, pulse racing, and the moment felt electric. The air hummed with energy, creating a barrier between them and the encroaching darkness. "What do we need to do?" she asked, willing herself not to flinch as swirling shadows brushed against the edges of their light. Draven's gaze deepened, burning with an intensity that ignited a fire within her heart. "We need to channel our powers, blend them together. Only then can we confront that which lies in our way." "Together," she echoed softly. He nodded. "Close your eyes. Focus on your essence. Feel the magic inside you. Let it rise." She drew in a deep breath, allowing his words to guide her. The connection between them intensified, threading spells of light and awareness through her veins. Slowly, she felt her heart synchronize with Draven's, their rhythms merging into one. The shadows hesitated, sensing the mighty bond forming between them, the raw magic pulsing at their core. What emerged from her was as foreign as it was familiar, a blend of herbs, whispers of wind, and roots extending into the depths of the earth. Lena felt the energy swelling, akin to an undertow pulling her closer to Draven. With every heartbeat, greater strength awakened her senses, awakening the dormant power she had once feared. The shadows reacted violently, surging forward and rushing into the light. Darkness began to envelop them, consuming the colors and shimmering warmth. Lena gasped, jolting back against Draven, their connection flickering like a dying flame. "No!" he commanded, pulling her closer. "Hold on! Trust in your magic!" With a surge of determination, she focused harder, channeling every bit of her essence into the light, letting the magic surge forward like a break in a dam. It charged against the shadows, pushing them back, and she could sense Draven beside her, amplifying her power with his own. She could feel the darkness thicken, clawing at her, trying to unravel her focus, but she pushed through, drawing strength from the resolve igniting between them. "We can do this!" she shouted, hardly believing her own words. Draven's voice vibrated through the air, filled with authority and warmth. "Together!" They held firm, the light expanding around them, a radiant shield pushing against the dark tendrils that sought to divide. The shadows writhed, frustrated by the unity blossoming in front of them. Then it happened. A sudden explosion of color erupted from their linked forces, filling the void with a brilliant golden light. Draven enveloped Lena, merging their magic in a spectacle of shimmering brilliance. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in agony as their grasp began to falter entirely. Lena's heart soared with newfound freedom as they pushed the darkness further back, a pathway opening ahead, glimmering with hope at the end. "We're doing it!" she cried out, exhilaration spilling from her lips. "Yes!" Draven's voice rang through the mirrored realm like thunder. "Now, follow that light." They bolted forward, hands still joined. Strength churned in her core as they traversed the brightly lit expanse, propelled by purpose and determination. The shadows, hostile and angry, surged in desperation, eager to pull them back into the abyss. But time and again, their bond proved stronger, each step hurling them closer to the center, a star pulsing in the darkness. Suddenly, the shadows pulled back, retreating reluctantly, and an opening appeared, a vault of radiant energy beckoning them forward. Lena's heart raced. Could they really be nearing the end? As they reached the entrance, A chilling presence loomed larger than life, isolating them in a whirlwind of darkness. Before them stood the Keeper of Shadows, a figure weaved with malice, eyes glinting like obsidian stones. "Foolish mortals," it hissed, voice like gravel, mocking their advances. "You think you can conquer the deeply rooted darkness within this kingdom? You are naive." Draven squeezed her hand tighter, anchoring both of them in strength. "We are destined to unite, to break this curse." But the Keeper only laughed, cruel and chilling. "You dare to challenge me? Bonds forged in light will never overcome what lurks in the shadows. You will lose everything." Lena glanced at Draven, then back at the Keeper, feeling the stakes rise sharply. With their combined strength, they could silence the Keeper, could rewrite the wrongs laid upon both of their kin. But doubt crept in. What if the Keeper was right? Draven seemed to sense her hesitation, turning to her with fire in his eyes. "Lena, remember our connection, our purpose here." As she reconnected with their bond, memories of strength flooded her mind. Faces of those she had loved and fought for, life interwoven with roots of resilience. The darkness couldn't take that from her as long as she held on. "Let's show them!" she shouted defiantly, channeling the power of the light between them. In that moment, Lena stepped forward beside Draven, drawing in the magic swirling within her. Light surged forth, entwined with shadows but emerging triumphant, a blaze of hope against despair. Together, they would fight, not just for their fates, but for an entire kingdom that lay in ruin, waiting for heroes to rise. What would be the cost of their victory? Are you ready to move on to Block 5, where the crisis and declaration of their bond unfold? The atmosphere thickened as Lena and Draven stood defiantly in front of the Keeper of Shadows, determination blazing within them. The shadows morphed, twisting and coiling like snakes around the Keeper, launching forward with malicious intent. Dark energy crackled like lightning, thrumming in the air, threatening to overpower the light they conjured together. "Fools!" the Keeper hissed again, voice a haunting whisper that echoed off the walls of the swirling void. "You think you can vanquish me? I am a part of this kingdom's very fabric. I have fed off its despair for centuries." But Lena felt the power surge within her, a tidal wave of magic flowing from her connection to Draven. It coursed through her veins, igniting a sensation like fire and ice. She couldn't let fear chain her. She'd come too far. "We won't allow you to keep us all in darkness," she shouted, her voice ringing with authority and fierce resolve. Draven's presence heightened beside her, and together, they pushed toward the Keeper. "We bring the light that pierces through shadows. Together, we are unstoppable," he declared. The air crackled with raw magic, building momentum, a fierce energy resonating from their bond. Lena stepped forward, channeling their connection, raising her hands to summon the light they had forged. Luminous tendrils erupted from their clasped hands, spiraling and growing, a testament to their united strength. But the Keeper would not yield easily. With a swift flick of its shadowy wrist, dark tendrils shot forth, swirling around them and drawing closer, threatening to engulf them. "You think your bond can outshine centuries of darkness? You will fail, and with you, the kingdom shall fall," it screamed, laughter laced with malice filling the space, echoing hauntingly. Lena felt the shadows brush against her skin, chilling her to the bone. Fear gripped her heart, but she steeled herself, calling upon the memories that ignited her magic. A grandmother's laughter, the sun filtering through the trees as she played, the warmth of human connection. She locked eyes with Draven, their bond solidifying as their feelings intertwined deeper than ever before. "I won't give in," she declared, a fierce glimmer of defiance lighting her eye. With renewed vigor, they unleashed a blast of magic that surged forward, colliding with the dark tendrils of the Keeper's power. Brilliant light erupted from their hands, splitting the darkness like a knife. The clash reverberated, and Lena felt the intensity grow, the energy of their union striking true. The Keeper faltered, momentarily stunned before anger twisted its face. "You dare!" it spat, anger shimmering around it, dark energy swirling like a tempest. But Lena and Draven pressed on, pushing the light higher. And yet the shadows began to curl back, encroaching upon them once more, seeking cracks in their resolve. "What will you sacrifice?" the keeper taunted, smirking wickedly. "Will you forsake your bond for your lives? For one another?" Lena's breath hitched. Could they truly take on this malevolence without sacrificing something dear to them? She locked firm on Draven's hand. "I won't lose you. I won't let anything tear us apart. Then we'll claim our victory," Draven responded, his conviction steadying her. They could do this together. They were stronger united. With each breath, she felt Draven's magic intertwining with hers, a fusion pulling them closer, igniting a warmth that banished the chill of doubt. "Let's break this curse, together," she yelled, their bond igniting a bright flash as they pushed their collective force into the heart of darkness. The light swirled in a maelstrom, erupting in hues of gold, white, and blue, consuming the shadows around them. The keeper shrieked, its form flickering, shadows retreating as their light overwhelmed it. "You may win this battle," it spat, its voice laced with venom. "But darkness is eternal. It will find a way back. You cannot hide from it." But Lena refused to yield. "We refuse to be afraid." She fought harder, visualizing the castle and its people, their laughter, their hope, the future they deserved. This was about more than a curse. It was about breaking the cycle of despair burdening Brindor. Just as the keeper was about to succumb, it lashed out, gathering the remnants of darkness for one final strike, a surge of energy pulsating violently, a tempest of shadows crashing against their light. Fear wrapped around Lena's heart. "Stay with me, Draven." As if responding, she felt his magic spiral stronger than before, encasing them in a cocoon of warmth. They were one. They were powerful. "Together!" Draven roared, eyes illuminated with unwavering determination. In that moment, they channeled everything they had, their hopes, fears, and love, and hurled it toward the keeper with a mighty roar of defiance. The collision sent shockwaves through the surrounding void, and the darkness erupted in a blinding explosion of light, radiating like a supernova. The keeper screeched, an unearthly sound that echoed in agony as it was consumed by the brilliance, scattering darkness like ash in the wind. And then silence. A profound stillness blanketed the void, leaving only the warm glow of their combined magic. Lena breathed heavily, heart racing, the adrenaline coursing through her as she turned to Draven. We did," he said, wide-eyed, disbelief mingling with exhilaration. "We broke the curse." A radiant light enveloped them as the realm shifted, the void lifting to reveal the star-filled skies of Brindor above. Their victory had ripped through the darkness, illuminating the land. They had saved the kingdom and freed Draven from the shadows, but the incandescent glow faded, leaving a lingering warmth around them. "What now?" Lena questioned, the weight of their victory crashing over her. Draven stepped forward, face serious yet hopeful. "Now we reclaim our lives, Lena. Together." Heart pounding, Lena took a step forward, emboldened as she intertwined her fingers with his. They were bound, not only by fate, but by a shared future woven together in magic and resilience. But as they turned toward the horizon, a question lingered in the air. What new challenges awaited them as they embraced their true bond? Shall we conclude with Block 6, where resolution and the celebration of their bond take shape? The dawn broke, casting warm hues of gold and crimson across the horizon as Lena and Draven emerged into the world anew. The air was thick with the scent of fresh earth, and the vibrant colors sweeping the landscape felt like a promise, a sign of their triumph. The shadows that once cloaked the kingdom had vanished, leaving behind a sense of tranquility. "What was lost is finally found," Draven murmured, his eyes reflecting the brilliance of the awakening day. Lena squeezed his hand, marveling at the beauty surrounding them. "It feels different, alive." She took a breath, letting relief and joy wash over her like a summer rain. The weight that had burdened her heart for so long dissolved with each passing moment. From the distance, shouts broke the peaceful silence, laughter echoing as townsfolk appeared, united in celebration. They emerged from their homes, eyes wide with hope and astonishment, a generation once shackled by despair, now glimpsing the light of a newfound dawn. "Draven!" a voice called out, a man sprinting forward, arms outstretched, a face filled with disbelief. Is it really you? The king has returned. Draven stepped forward, Lena at his side. Yes, we are here. The curse is broken. The joy in his voice resonated through the crowd, awakening an unbelievable tide of emotion. Cheers erupted like fireworks, voices blending into a chorus of jubilation. Long live the king! They cried, and Lena felt her heart swell. She was no longer just a servant, but part of something far greater. Long live the queen! Another voice echoed through the throng, sending ripples of excitement coursing through Lena's veins. Draven's hand tightened around hers, and she turned to see his expression, a mix of astonishment and newfound determination. You are my queen, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Only together can we lead Brindor into a new era. As the crowd rushed forward, they were enveloped in warmth, joy wrapping around them like a blanket. People rushed to touch him, to be near the king who had returned from the brink. The hope that had long been buried now ignited in the hearts of the kingdom. And there it was, a vision of the future starting to take shape in Lena's mind. She saw a thriving land where magic and humanity existed in harmony, one she could help nurture, where every child would grow up without fear. It was more than a dream. It was their destiny, fueled by the bond they had forged. Lena. A familiar voice broke through the celebration. Her grandmother pushed through the crowd, tears glistening in her eyes. You're safe! I feared the worst! I'm here, grandmother, we did it. Draven and I... Her voice trembled with emotion as she reached out, pulling her grandmother into an embrace. We broke the curse. All of this. It's real. Her grandmother stepped back, taking a careful look at both of them, her expression shifting to one of confidence and pride. I always knew you were destined for greatness, child. Draven looked at Lena, unspoken words passing between them. Their journey was far from over, but they would face every battle together. Suddenly, the crowd quieted, anticipation tingling in the air. Draven raised a hand, commanding their attention. Today marks the end of an era of darkness, but it is also the beginning of something greater. We rebuild. Together. The cheers erupted again, and Lena felt her heart soar. Together, they would nurture the seeds of hope and transform their home, but it wouldn't come without challenges. They had seen the darkness, and there would always be remnants lurking at the fringes. Draven turned to Lena, an affectionate, encouraging smile touching his lips. Shall we? What do you have in mind? She asked, intrigued, her spirit rekindled by the ferocity of his resolve. Let's bring together the council, summon the elders, unite our people, all of them. We'll share what we've been through and ensure this future is built on strength and unity. Her heart raced at the prospect. Yes, let's start now. We have so much to do. Together, their hands clasped tight, they stepped into the heart of Brindor, side by side, ready to lead with courage, love, and unity. The weight of the world had shifted, and they were prepared to face whatever came their way. But as they moved forward, a lingering thought hovered in her mind. How could they balance the shadows of the past with the brilliance of their shared future? If they could conquer the darkness once, could they do so again? As they walked into the sunrise, Lena felt a profound sense of purpose filling the air. If you enjoyed the story of Lena and Draven, the champions of Brindor, subscribe for more epic Lycan King romances. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. And remember, sometimes the brightest light can emerge from the deepest darkness. Thank you for listening.